Hello gamers, and welcome to a preview of Wasabi. Hello gamers, and welcome back to the Board Game Co channel. This is a preview of Wasabi by Kids Table Board Gaming. Please keep in mind this is a paid preview which is sponsored on the channel, and this is a demo copy. All of the components are subject to change and not in their final version. However, this will give you a great feel for what the game will be like, and it is set up very well and plays smoothly that I don't think there is much that they will be changing about it. However, please keep that in mind. Wasabi is currently on Kickstarter, and I have a link for you down in the description below to the crowdfunding campaign. There's also going to be, possibly before this, possibly after this, a playthrough of Wasabi on the Board Game Co channel. So you can check that out as well if this isn't everything that you wanted to see, and if you want to see how the game plays from start to finish, that will also be available for you. But with that, I'm just going to dive right in because honestly, this game does nothing but make me hungry. It does nothing but make me want sushi. It is quite a fun puzzle that I think was engaging, that I had a great time playing with it, but honestly, more than anything, it makes me want sushi right next to me while I'm playing. So in Wasabi, players are taking in different actions to place out different items that are used to make a sushi roll to score different points. You're going to be using those points as well as the wasabi that you collect throughout the game while the board is filled with all of the different food items tiles into the board, and at the end of the game you'll see whoever has the most points wins. That is a quick overview. I'm going to jump into the different actions that you do throughout the game and how you're placing these tiles and maximizing everything you can do to be as efficient as possible and get as many points as you can. But at its heart, it is a puzzle where you are placing these different tiles along the board to try to fulfill different recipes for your sushi rolls. At the beginning of the game, players will start with level 2, 3, and 4 sushi rolls, but we are quite a bit into this game that I have set up for you. This is a 2-player game, so there are other rolls that are 5 cost that are very unique and fun, and we'll get into that in just a bit. But as a reminder, because this is a 2-player setup, this is what you would play in for a 2-player game. There is also a 3-player game and a 4-player game where the board is expanded, so there is more room for you to be placing your sushi ingredients. Now, all the ingredients that are available to players are on this side of the board in tiles, and something that I thought that was very fun is they're actually double-sided. So this is, oh my goodness, this is crab on one side, but the other side is the Japanese name, which is kani, which I didn't know, so I had to look. But there is the Japanese names for all these ingredients on the other sides, so it also helps you learn a bit about sushi and what you're ordering. I always knew roe was fish roe, but to know that it's, I don't want to say it's tamago, masago, I don't think I ever knew that. That I think I always just asked for roe, and now I understand what it is on a menu, so shout out to that for Wasabi for teaching you as well. But players are going to be doing 2 different things on their turn. They're always going to be placing a tile. So there is no hand in Wasabi where you are holding onto tiles. Sorry, I apologize. There is a hand where you have cards that you were playing, but there are no tiles that you're holding onto. The tiles are always placed immediately when you take them onto this board for players to be able to access. So on your turn, you will choose a different tile to place. Let's see, for this guy, we have them coming up, and we can place this tuna, actually, which is going to be a great example for you guys. Sorry, that was my mistake. I should place a maki. I will place this maki down here, and then I will show you what we would do for the next step. So you will always place one tile somewhere in the board that is available. These little green teacups are just taking up different spots on the board so that you always have an option of where to place. So when the board is filled up, you will, if you wanted to go somewhere where the green tea is located, you would just place the tile and move it to another spot. As the board fills up, these will be the 2 last spots remaining at the end of the game, and the rest will be filled with tiles, and that's what will trigger endgame. So as I said, everyone will place a tile, and then you will take one of 2 actions. You will either serve or prep. Now in this case, we are going to serve, so I will show you what that looks like first. Now, another thing to keep in mind is everything is hands up right now. These are usually secret. The different recipes that you're trying to do for your sushi rolls are your hand, and the other players do not see them. They do see them when you fulfill the different contracts, but that is it. They do also see what action cards you take. However, it is not public knowledge, so if they aren't remembering, it is not up to you to let them know what's there. Now for our serve action, because we were able to place this like this, we will serve our tuna 2 ways. So we have a maki, a yellowtail, and a tuna in a row. And you'll see that there are 2 different boxes at the bottom of the card. Now, on the left side, the ingredients are in a specific order, and that is what we did down on the board below. When that happens, you are able to get the bonus wasabi that is in the box next to the victory points. For this one, it's a little hard to read on the camera, but it's worth 4 victory points within the star, and that will score you for endgame points, but you'll also gain wasabi. Wasabi is generally something that will be a lot of points for you at the end of the game. There are some cards that will spend it, so you'll use that to do different things. However, the main point of wasabi will be to hold on to it and hoard it for as many victory points as you can, along with these recipe cards, and you'll put those together to have your final score at the end of the game. Now, something else this player would have had available, if the board was more full and they weren't able to put that in a row exactly like that, they would have been able to put this maki down here like this because they have a snake card. Now, you can go out of order. We could have gone in this order and that would have been fine, but you always have to go in a straight row or column. But because they do have this snake card, they would be able to play that to be able to score for this during the scoring phase when they serve. Now, if you are able to serve multiple rolls at once, you are able to do that. So that may be another reason to hold on to action cards like this, so you're able to score multiple rolls all at once, which sounds perfect to me. Now, beyond that, players also have a prep phase if they are not able to serve. You will not always be able to serve for the different roles that you're holding onto, and often you'll be working toward those roles to be able to serve them. One thing to note before we move away from serving is that if a role exists on the board and you already have it, you still need to place something to contribute to it to serve the role. So the tile that you place has to be part of the recipe that you make, and that goes along with even being in the specific order that if it already exists on the board, it doesn't really help you, and you need to be the one to place a tile to be able to score for it. Now, in your prep phase, there are a few actions that you're able to take. The first one would be able to gain an action card. These are your action cards that you're able to do. One was Snake, which I was able to show you. A couple others would be Switch, which is choose 2 adjacent spaces and swap their contents, which means you would be able to switch things on the board. There's also Chop, which is return a top tile in a space to the pantry. Now, why would you mean a top tile? Because this player has a card called Stack, which says when playing a tile, play it on top of another one. Now, that's not something that you can normally do. However, there is a stack action that you're able to stack more tiles. Now, this is something that can prolong the game, which can be kind of fun and strategic if you have roles that need a lot more to be able to do. You can start using Stack to make certain roles that you need without filling up the board, and you can also use Chop to remove the tiles and have the board clear up after that. There has already been a card also used called Spicy, and this is one when you would spend your wasabi to the supply and then place a tile. Now, there are 2 different places that the wasabi exists besides your own points. There are 2 different places that the wasabi lives, and that is in a main supply where you're taking it from. That's where all of the wasabi That's just where the wasabi is made, the wasabi factory. But there is also a wasabi pool. Now, the wasabi pool is something that's interesting where the wasabi is going to be gaining and then being taken by different players. So players will gain wasabi both by their roles that they are serving, but also by when they're taking it from here. Now, that's one of the actions that you'll be able to do during the prep phase, but you can see that there are 4 wasabi tiles within the current pool. So I will walk you through what this prep phase might look like as well. So let's say, for example, this player wants to play down a specific item. Let's have them place down the tofu. And we'll put the tofu down here. And then they will use their prep action to take the 4 wasabi from the pool, which is 4 victory points for them at the end of the game. They can place it down into their supply, and then they will take 1 from the general supply and into the wasabi pool. Now, another thing that happens throughout the game is when you complete your recipes, you'll be drawing new recipe cards. Now, the different levels will show you the different things that you will get. Levels 3 through 5 will always give you wasabi when you do it in a specific order, and level 2 will always let you draw an additional action card, which is another way to build these up into your hand. Now, you can only ever have 2 action cards in your hand at the same time. However, they are extremely useful, so you'll be playing them very often. Now, you can see these symbols on the 3, 4, and 5 recipe cards. That means that wasabi is also added to the pool. So when you take a level 3 recipe, you get to gain a wasabi and add one to the general pool. A level 4 would be adding one to the pool, and a level 5 would be adding two to the pool. Now, the level 5 recipes are much more difficult to do, but they are very fun and thematic, so I'm just going to show you a few to see the flavor of the game now that you have a general feel of the mechanics. I already have one drawn for this character, and it is the Wreck Raider, which just looks so fun. But let's look through because I know that there is a Kraken one in here. Oh, I also loved this all-day breakfast with the different types of egg in it. Very delicious. This game just... Chowder? Who wants a chowder roll? Oh. Chowder. And here we go. Here's the Kraken one. Let's get Kraken. So there is a lot of whimsical nature to the game where you can see that the rolls are very fun and thematic for you to have in your hand and be playing, and a lot of the ingredients look very well done, that when you have the different colorful plates all filled up on the board, it can be a very beautiful sushi pantry for you to be building your rolls out of. This game is very fast-paced where you are just placing tiles immediately, so it is going back and forth that I think it lends itself to not have much analysis paralysis between players, which can be really great that you're making very quick actions, and the game can end pretty quickly, so you can play again over and over, no hard feelings, and you're able to challenge them again while you are waiting for your sushi delivery. I think there's a lot of depth to strategy, though, to the game, both between the action cards that you are taking and the final prep action, which I failed to mention earlier, is that you are able to discard your recipe cards. So you can discard any number of recipe cards and then draw to refill your hand. When you do this, you do not gain the wasabi that is noted on the cards, but this is a way to change up your hand to hopefully have some of your ingredients match up, that your rolls can make a little bit more sense when you're planning on making them. Overall, I really enjoyed the strategy of going for the higher cost recipe cards at first, planning out what I could in the board, and then seeing what I could fit at the end and how I could squeeze out every little bit of points possible, which ended up in being wasabi, which in real life I don't like, but in the game I really like because it's points. So that has been a preview of Wasabi. Thank you to Kids Table Board Gaming for sponsoring this preview. As a reminder, this is a current project that you can check out. The link will be down in the description below. I'm Professor Meg. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great week. I'll see you later.